If you're running a data team or a tech team, you must have noticed that your business has changed a little bit. In the past, it was all about cost and back office work. And now we all have the opportunity of generating value. It's about front office work and getting people to build data products and also hiring great data product managers. But you're probably sitting there thinking, what does it mean to be a product manager in 2023? Well, today you're in for a treat because our guest has been building data products for over 10 years. She has a lecture coming up at MIT. I'm really excited about that one. And she's going to answer everything today in this CarCast about what it takes to think like a product manager. Also, we're going to give you a 75% discount to one of our courses. So you want to make sure that you stick until the end of this video to get access to that. And then finally, I noticed looking at the stats that not many of you have subscribed yet to this channel. So make sure that you do so by clicking on the link down here that says subscribe. So you'll be the first one getting access to the videos as they come through. All right, before we get into the data product manager business, I want to make sure that I point you to people you should know and follow. My first batch of people is Cindi, Howson, Bob Muglia, and Matt Turck. You're going to want to follow them at least this week because on Thursday, the three of us are going to be debating about the impact of AI on the modern data stack and on your team. So that should be fun. I put the link to my blog down here so you can register for free and so forth. In fact, the company that's hosting the great data debate, Atlan, has been running this survey, and they found some really interesting insights that I thought I'd share with you. The first one is they found that almost half of the people they surveyed kept the majority of their data in the cloud. More than half are planning on increasing their budget, and more than half of you are concerned about Gen AI. So check out the post that I'm going to put down here so you can register, but also get access to that research. This last point on Gen AI is an important one because I know that many of you are being asked by your management, how should we approach this Gen AI topic? How should we bet on it? How does it work with our own platform? And so this week, Anil, who is the CVP of Cloud Platform at Walmart Global Tech, published an incredibly great clarifying piece on Gen AI. It brings sanity to the whole topic. He's going to help you really bring your own principles and your own vision together because he talks about cost and values and security and privacy and many more dimensions that you can take into account when you're building your approach. So read it, use it, but perhaps more importantly, connect with Anil. Maybe you can help each other. And then finally, my third point, resource a group of people that I think you should know is around two reports that were published this past week on data and AI maturity. The first one is the CIO Vision 2025. They found that the number one impediment to a company's ability to achieve their goal is not the budget, is not the talent, it's not the technology, it's the organizational structure of that organization. So I love the insight, of course, but I also love the fact that that came from talking to leaders in the space, like the CIO of Procter & Gamble, the CIO of Virgin Australia, the CTO of Walgreens, the Chief Data Officer of Marks & Spencer's. I'm going to tag them here in this post so you can follow them as well and compliment them on the value of that particular report, the CIO Vision 2025. There's also another report that came out this week from the Boston Consulting Group and my friend Lucas, where they published their benchmark on the performance of data leaders. Lots and lots of insights, but really the TLDR on this whole report, I think, is a few things. One is data champions grow their revenue twice as fast as laggards. But what's interesting is all these companies are dealing with the same themes, the same issues, and there are three at least. Isolated data initiatives, lots of pilots, too many pilots, not enough at scale. Insufficient data granularity, so that leads to poor customer insights. And then finally, lack of data talent, high attrition, and difficulty to retain people. This last point is a great opportunity for us to connect to this topic of the data product manager. I know this is a hot topic for many of you. From the CarCast that I did a few months ago with Joe Rice, when we talked about is the product manager or is the data product manager a unicorn, to the resource that I shared just last week on why you should become a product manager in 2023, everybody's been very engaged with this topic. So that shows me that we're really kind of wondering, how should I hire these people? What do they look like? And so the great news for us is this week, I have the authority on this topic on our CarCast. Sandra has been building data products for over 10 years at Upwork, at Looker, at Google. She is now the founder of the Academy of Product Management. and she's going to tell us everything we need to know about how to be a PM. So Sandra, first of all, thanks for taking the time over the weekend to talk to us. Let's get started with, why is PM so hard?
Thank you so much for having me, Bruno. Being a product manager is super hard. I think the thing that is the hardest about product management is that the responsibility ultimately rests on the product manager's shoulders for the overall success of your product. And I think Marty Kagan in his book Inspired has a great quote about this, where he says, when a product succeeds, it's because everybody who was part of it did what they needed to do. But when a product fails, it's the product manager's fault. And so, just thinking about the accountability that product managers have ultimately is huge. That's a ton of pressure. That's a lot of stress. But the other thing that's really hard about product management is that the product manager is bringing all the people who need to be involved, who need to do things to build the product and make it successful, bringing them all together. And all those people are specialists. They're all experts in their functions, in their fields. You have the engineers, the designers, the data folks, the salespeople, the marketers, and the product manager needs to bring them all together. So you need to know enough about what all those people do so that they trust and respect you and want to follow your lead. You need to influence them because you have no authority over them. They don't have to listen to you, but the success of your product hinges on their cooperation. So all of those things just put a lot of pressure on product managers. You have to have this huge surface area of knowledge and relationships with people across the business to bring them all together. And I think that's what ultimately makes the role so hard.
Yeah, so pressure, you got to be able to influence, you got to know a little bit about what everybody else is involved so you can guide them as well. I've been studying your work. I love what you do. You were nice enough to share with me the slides from the MIT lecture you're doing next week. So thank you for doing that. I'm excited. I even have my MIT Sports Analytics Conference shirt. So I hope you're going to have fun with that. In your deck, you talk about the 8 attributes of a great PM. What are they, and is there one that's more important than the others?
We're going to do a crash course on product management in this MIT guest lecture. And I'm going to talk about the 8 skills that I think are essential for great product managers. At a high level, it's customer focus. So really focusing on what your customers need, knowing them at a deep level. Product sense, which is the ability to think creatively and critically about why customers love products or hate them. Strategy. So with that customer focus and that product sense, you're able to create a winning plan and get everyone on board. That's where your product strategy and your roadmap all come together. Influence without authority is the 4th skill. So again, you're nobody's boss. You got to influence them to come together and work together. Number 5 is strong execution. So this is getting things done. Number 6 is clear communication. So you're talking and presenting and writing all day long. You have to be really good at that. Number 7, I think your audience will appreciate, is data fluency. So you have to be able to read and understand data to find the insights that lead to innovation, and also just to monitor the performance of your product. And then number 8 is dealing with ambiguity. So that is making decisions in the midst of uncertainty. Even if you don't have all the information that you need, you still need to make good decisions and stand by them. So out of all those things, I think the skill that is really unique to product managers is product sense. And so this is, again, the ability to think creatively and critically about what makes a great product great or a bad product bad. So why are customers going to love it or hate it? What are the specific things about how you built it and how people are interacting with it that is going to drive its success or its ultimate failure if you get it wrong? So that's the thing that we're going to talk about. I'm really excited about it. We're going to practice it. So this is something that you can practice just by observing products around you, observing your own reactions to products, and also asking people around you, what do they think about it? What do they love about it? What do they hate about it? Reading reviews, learning a little bit about psychology and human computer interaction, those kinds of things. This is a skill that is, we call it product intuition sometimes, but it's really a skill that people can learn.
Yeah, and I've reviewed your material, and in one of them, one of the videos you did, you're kind of giving away the the question that I ask every time I interview a product manager, which is pick a product you love and
Yep.
tell me how you're going to make it better. And
Yes.
that, I think, is how you test for product sense, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And so as a product manager, you have to have really good product sense about your product, but great product managers can look at any product and tell you why it's great or why it's not and where they think it's going to fall down.
Also, in your presentation, you talk about what does it look like to have a team to support the product manager, because you need to surround your product managers with other folks that are going to help them succeed. So, what does it look like? Ideally, for the people listening to us here, they're going to hire a data product manager, but they also want the supporting staff, if you will, around the product manager, because it is a lot about collaboration. So, what are the models you see out there?
The product manager needs to be as close as possible to the builders and ideally paired with the builders. So I think traditionally this has been called the product trio. I think that term was coined by Teresa Torres, and that is the product manager, the designer, and the engineering lead. And the reason why you want those people to be close together is so that they can make decisions really fast, they can collaborate really effectively. They should be talking to each other every day, and they can build things faster if they're working together and not kind of throwing things over the wall. Product writes a PRD, throws it to design, design makes a design, throws it to engineering. Like, no, they should all be working together. So whoever the builders are that your product manager is working with, they should be paired with. So that product trio um, model, I think, recently has really been expanded, and a lot of companies are adding data people to that trio. So it's not a trio anymore; it's like 5 people or maybe more, depending on how many folks you have in different specialties that can really embed themselves in those teams. So if you don't have a front end side of your app, you might not have a product designer, but maybe you have a data scientist or a data analyst, UX research. So whoever the builders are, they need to be close together. But then I think the other thing, organizational wise, that product managers need is uh, relationships with the stakeholders that care the most about their product area. So sometimes that's operations if you're building internal tools for the operations team. Sometimes that's sales if you're building things that the sales team is really selling at the top of the funnel. So whoever those stakeholders are who care the most about your product area, the product manager needs to have really strong relationships with those people. You might not be talking to them every day, but you have to work really well with them.
So what are the roles then? You've got the product manager, the UX designer, the program manager, the data scientist, the data engineer. Who else? Who else am I forgetting here?
UX research. I've had quality engineers embedded in my teams. I've had technical writers embedded on my teams. I think it really depends on the staffing of your company. So if you have enough of the folks who are in those different functions that you can embed one and have them specialize across the teams, that's awesome. But sometimes those folks are a little bit more horizontal and may work with multiple product managers. So it kind of depends on what you need and how your company is staffed. But whoever the
That's great.
builders are, product managers need to be close to them.
You need to be next to the builders. I think that's kind of the
Yes,
message here. Now,
I think so.
there's a lot more information that you have. You have a course on influence as well. So where do people go to find out more about you, your programs, and then what's the deal with that coupon code you're going to give everyone here?
Yeah, so our website is academyofpm.com, and the course Product Influence, it's on the website. It's academyofpm.com/product-influence. It's on the homepage. You can find it. But the discount code is Bruno. So if you use that code at checkout for the month of May, we'll give you 75% off, which is a huge discount. Wanted to make that available to the CarCast community. So check it out if you're interested. There's also a 30-day money back guarantee. So if no risk for you. And we're
That's
also we're on YouTube, we're on Substack, Academy of PM on all the social channels.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being so generous with the community, Sandra. We really appreciate you spending a little bit of your time on the weekend to tell us a little bit about this. So I hope everybody's going to follow you and that everybody's going to take that course. If you have any questions, any suggestions, please put them down here. Ping me or ping Sandra directly. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week.